I don't.
What?
She stole your name from your Zoom tag, but
Okay.
I
Anyway,
don't know if that was right.
we are live.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to the Blamegirl podcast with
Mr. Terry Wayne.
and
Just stop moving.
oh, sorry.
What is
I'm
wrong?
sorry. And we have Tarek Turjuman in the house. Welcome, Tarek.
How are you?
Good, good. I'm a star. That's how I am.
Apparently, yes.
I-
Very subtle narcissism.
It's my
from Gio.
computer. Like I'm
It's
so
my
used to-
house.
Okay, fine. All right.
I'm a
So
star.
Look at these Tuscan themes. This screams Terry
Is
Wayne.
that what that is behind you?
Yes.
It's his house.
I love
thought
it.
it was-
I love Italy. I'm sorry, I do.
For a minute, I thought it was like where Aladdin comes from. Like,
Oh no, it's not.
it
Well,
was a little Middle Eastern to me.
I know, and I was gonna say, well, see, now you're laying groundwork. You can't put these low-hanging fruit out there and expect me not to pick it.
All right. Tarek, how was your weekend?
It was good. I worked all weekend.
Yeah.
I'm a
was
realtor
it good then?
/ comedian. So,
You cut
What?
it off.
I said, how was it good if you were working all weekend?
I mean, it's good because I think I made money. I
Okay.
think I sold some stuff. I'm a realtor.
Oh,
So it's been
yes.
wild. It's wild out there.
Oh, I know. We're in the same industry.
What do you do?
I'm a home inspector.
Oh, okay, cool. So I give you work. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
And
No,
I give you
It must be crazy. Have you been
And
doing
I
that?
give
How
you
long have you done
reason-
that for, Terry?
I give you reasonable reports that don't scare clients away. That's what I do.
I just want the truth, Terry. No, I don't. I don't want it.
No, you want the truth, but you want it told to them in a nice way.
Exactly. You need
Yeah.
to use the right the words.
Yeah, the roof only has 4 years old, 4 years left on it, but every roof in this neighborhood's the exact same thing.
So you had a good weekend. You sold some stuff.
Yeah. I performed at where I usually perform, which is a Villain Theater. I headlined
Nice.
and it was okay. It was great. I did some good stuff and some bad stuff.
How much time did you do?
I did 30 minutes. Yeah.
Dope.
But it's like when the crowd was like patchy, you know, when you have all these like
Yeah.
little tables full of like couples
Yeah.
Yes.
and they all laugh at different things, but never together in unison
Yeah.
as one. You
Yeah.
know?
That's
But it
where
like-
we met, you and I.
But at least you know that thing.
Oh, wasn't it on Grindr? Oh wait.
Oh, in your dreams.
That's a stupid
right.
thing. We just get
Speaking of
we
Grindr,
respond that
how
to
was-
everything. That's the gay response for everything. Wait, isn't that on Grindr?
What?
I said, speaking of Grinder, how was your weekend?
Oh, good. You know, it was my girl's birthday, so we ended up doing mushrooms for most of the weekend,
Mhm.
and which is always a good birthday. And then a really nice dinner last night. That was good.
Where did you do mushrooms?
Does it matter?
It does. I'm very particular of my environment when I'm doing mushrooms. Like the music can't be too loud. I like
Oh,
to be
no.
outside.
No.
Am I just
I'm not.
spoiled?
I'm 41. If I do mushrooms, it's medicinal. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to decompress. I'm trying to get some of this negativity out. So it's not really a location. It's more of like I guess a vibe is what you would call it.
Yeah.
So like we went out by the lake and we laid in the grass and looked at the stars and watched the clouds, and you know, then once the initial peak was over, then we went back to her house and watched American Dad and weed and sex and you know, that kind of stuff.
It sounds like a good weekend.
It is. It was really
Okay.
relaxing.
Good.
It was
Sounds a little boring, but that's fine.
I'm old. What do you want from me?
You're old and straight. I don't expect
Yeah.
much.
You like to turn up? I don't like to turn up.
You only
I
think
can't turn up anywhere. No, I went to a club on Saturday. Oh shit, I forgot to say I went to watch Bob the Drag Queen. He's a famous comedian.
Okay.
He won RuPaul's Drag Race at one point.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
but now he's a stand-up comic in drag. He's wonderful. And he's really good. It was great watching them. And my friend Anna Lepley opened for them. You know Anna.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was a gay moment. And
Yeah.
the reason I brought it up, I forgot why I brought it up. Fuck. Sorry, guys. I suck at your podcast.
It's fine. It's fine. I happen to love drag comedians. That was one of my first comedy shows before I became a comedian. Was here in West Palm, is a gay club over off Belvedere that I believe is still there. And they did a comedy show one night, and it was 3 drag comedians. And it's hilarious because they can literally say anything, like they can get away with anything. So it's all off. It's like watching George Carlin. Nobody could be George Carlin now because they're all afraid of getting canceled.
Of
But
course.
if you're a person
right.
of color and you're in drag, nobody complains because they're afraid of getting
You can't.
chastised for complaining.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it's not so much that also, I think it's also, their experience encompasses a lot more, so like Bob, the drag queen, he's black and gay and a drag queen. And,
Look, they was talking some
there's
shit
a lot to
there.
encompass.
Well, they can get away with it. Okay, guys, my weekend.
Nobody
Thank
cares.
you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Nobody cares.
My weekend was awesome. I also did some shrooms on Saturday,
Nice.
and it was good. I was relaxed.
It's nice you can finally admit it.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Okay. It was.
I was
like,
complimenting you on your growth.
You keep interrupting.
All right.
You talk about me interrupting. I'm just letting you know.
I'm excited.
Okay, calm down.
Been waiting to have him on.
You're like Oreo tonight.
All right.
Okay. But I went and I had that's my dog. He was super excited.
If you mean between 2 black things, yeah.
I thought you did mean between like 2 people of color. I'm like, okay, maybe.
So yeah, I
And you are feeling
pool, had some barbecue. That was my weekend. Did a lot of work. So I think we're ready to do some blaming now. We should be all shared up.
Yeah.
So
I forgot.
it doesn't matter.
It
Save
doesn't.
it for the topics.
It doesn't matter.
All right, guys. Are you familiar with T.I.? He's a rapper, and
He
he
is.
started dabbling in comedy lately. But this week he was at a comedy show and he started heckling one of the comics, the host, actually a woman, telling her to take her wig off and all this stuff. And he went on stage and like took the mic from her. He acted like a real ass. And then he ended up performing somewhere in New York, I can't remember, and got booed. So he had a really bad week this week. Who's to blame, y'all?
I'll tell you who's to blame. Comedy's to blame. Laughs are to blame. Attention is to blame. Because I've had this so many times in my real life where people will come to my shows, they'll watch me do it. They know me from somewhere else. And then they watch me do it and they go, that seems really fun. I'm going to do that. And it's like, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. T.I.,
have you guys watched any of his comedy?
Huh?
Have you seen him do comedy? Have you watched any of it?
No, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
I guess
Stay
if
in
he
your
was
lane.
good, the word would be out that he was good already. Because
Yeah.
the word is out that he's doing comedy, but not that it's good. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
who's good when they first start out? Like, I get it. You get
You're right.
good
You're
by-
right. You're right. Yeah.
You get good by eating dick all the time
But it has
on stage, and it becomes like, see, this is why people from the Northeast, like Boston, New York, Philly, this is why you get so many funny people from this, because they grow up getting their balls busted 100% of the time. So it's like you're getting heckled all the time as you're growing up, and it just kind of builds that in there. T.I. doesn't get heckled.
all right, but what about comedy etiquette? Like, has anyone taught this guy any comedy etiquette? You don't,
No.
as a comedian, heckle other comedians. And I think we might have, I don't know if I talked about it on here, but I got told, like, just even responding to a comic that's asking, the crowd a question, if I respond, I'm heckling. So,
No, that was different.
but you've
That
got to
was
be super careful when you are at a comedy show, and if you're a comic.
No,
That's
that
not-
was
But that's my point. You got to be careful.
That was out of line for him to complain about that, because he literally asked a question and you answered it seriously. I'm assuming because nobody else did. The only time I ever speak up at a show is somebody goes, hey, anybody else here have a MySpace or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And nobody responds, and I just go, woo,
As they
you know,
should.
it doesn't matter if it's true or not. I'm trying to help him out so he can get to his fucking joke
Do
already.
you
Yeah.
think that his bad etiquette led to him getting booed, or do you think he was just like has bad jokes? Is that just
Oh, it's
part
bad jokes. 100%.
It's bad jokes, and I feel like maybe it's the lack of, you know, I know you are an established, you know, entertainer, and you're probably a millionaire and, you know, famous. How old is he? Maybe in his 40s?
Yeah.
He's multimillionaire.
Yeah, he's a multimillionaire. I mean, I remember him since, I guess, maybe even high school. I don't know, or college at least, when he first came out. But anyways, we won't say how long that is ago, but I think it's also lack of being humble, you know. If
Yeah.
he showed that he really wanted to be in comedy, I think he lives in Atlanta and he goes to all these Atlanta clubs, which is it's a major scene, you know. And if you want to
Definitely.
make it there, you got to kind of respect the scene. So I don't know if he's doing that, and I think people are gonna boo him.
I think he
T.I.'s net worth, by the way, this just in, 50 million.
that I think that's appropriate. Like he doesn't respect the scene. He's worth 50 million.
Yeah.
If you don't turn your goddamn ringer down.
All right, take it easy, champ.
I think like me, T.I. has a little bit of anger and it comes out on stage and when he's at comedy shows, maybe.
Wow.
And that does not translate well. That's not funny, right?
Yeah. And I
Well,
think
it
when you
is-
take
it
it
is
out on another
done right.
comedian, I think, you know, it's like playground behavior. You're frustrated at your response, the response you're getting from the crowd. So
Mhm.
you're taking it out on another comedian. You
Yeah.
know, whenever I see comedians talking shit about each other, it's like, bro, everything you're saying is about you. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
you know the both of them. So you're like, okay, it feels like you're just taking it out on each other because you also,
Ultimately,
you know.
You know,
But-
ultimately, you got to blame a sense of entitlement. Like
Yeah.
we've said, he's been famous for a long time. He's rich, he's famous. You get this sense of entitlement, and you ask, like, was it any good? No, of course it wasn't good, because you don't have a social structure around you that might actually say something to you, like, hey, don't scream out during another comedian's
Yeah,
performance.
we're
Hey,
no,
don't do this. Hey, that joke isn't funny. He doesn't have anybody in his life that's going
No.
to tell him that.
at this point in his career, he probably has a lot of yes people around him. And you know, how relatable can he be?
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You know what I mean? Like he's been
Entitlement.
famous
It's like-
for a while
like-
now.
Yeah,
He's
he's
been
been
on
famous for
television.
a while, and he has been worth 50 million for God knows how long, you know. Like,
And he's done a lot. He's done movies, series, he's done a lot. I don't doubt that if he really wanted to be a comedian, maybe he could do some comedy. But is he gonna be the next? Is he gonna be as big as he was in rap?
you know
Or
who he's
even
gonna
as
be
big
the
as-
next?
no.
He's gonna be the next Will Smith.
No, we're not. We're
Will
not
Smith is
transitioning
trying.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will Smith is. I'm gonna punch you in the dick
Mm.
if you don't come back. Will
I'm
Smith
calm.
has like set a new precedent for because he tried comedy and look at what he did to another comedian. T.I. is trying comedy and he got up in that girl's personal space, gave her an aggressive ass hug. Like it was inappropriate.
Look, comedy is a narrow lane and it's not for everybody, and that's fine. And I had to explain this to my own father because once I was doing comedy for, I think it was like my 4th or 5th year,
Mhm.
and I was really doing well. I was getting headline spots and stuff like that. And he came out to a show and he told me after, now my father, you know, has been an evangelical pastor my whole life. And he's like, I think I might try this. And I was like, don't try this. I'm like, don't, because I know him. It's just not for him. He's not that kind of funny.
I encourage everybody to try it. Like, give it a try. See if you like it, you know. And if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Well,
But
this is what comes of that.
yeah,
You get people that walk into the scene, no idea the etiquette. They
Mhm.
think that they're just going to go up there and crush
Yeah.
it the first time, and then they're going to have a comedy career. I know these
No,
things
but
because I
that's-
thought
it
them.
doesn't matter.
Now who's interrupting?
they
I know these things because I thought them too at one point. When I first started, I thought the same thing because everybody does.
Yeah.
everybody does, but it doesn't matter. The comedy game will humble you. It doesn't matter what you think of yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna get humbled doing
But will he? Yeah. And you have to get humbled to get better.
yeah.
Will he learn from it though? That's the question.
Yeah, will he learn from it?
Will he learn from heckling another comic? Will he learn for causing a scene during a show? Will he learn from getting, booze on stage? Will he learn from it, or is that ego too big at this point to where it's just going to bounce off of it?
And do you think it was maybe has something to do with, I mean, he was heckling her and then it got super out of control because she brought up his sexual allegations, his sexual misconduct allegations or whatever. And then he was like, that's when he went on stage and took the mic. And they also said that T.I. had, it's an open mic that he came to and he was on stage for 30 minutes.
Well, that's the whole thing.
He probably gave him time, Like,
no, the thing is, he wouldn't get off. He wouldn't respect the light, and it's T.I. He's probably got a security guard real neat, like nearby.
Yeah.
Right? He's got to travel with some sort of, security or posse that is, you can't really get really close to him, I'm sure. So I'm just trying to put myself in there, and I'm sure they couldn't tell him to get off. He wouldn't listen.
Hey, I've seen.
And that's part of not being humble. I don't care. Look, I know I've ran the open mic at the Villain Theater here in Miami.
Has that happened to you?
But you know what? We had a very Colombian, we had a very famous Colombian reggaetonero come. I won't say his name. And he wanted to get better at public speech. Bro, this guy has maybe 3 million followers on Instagram. Like, this guy's big. He goes on tour. He got paid $500,000 right now just to be on a reality show. Like, it was a huge deal. It was on the television and everything. But he was so humble. I had no idea who he was. He didn't make a scene of it. His bodyguard was there, but he made himself not be seen.
Yeah, he knows how to come into this.
Yeah. It wasn't until the 4th time that I met him at a comedy show that he's like, "Oh, I'm on Instagram." And then I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?" But then I realized he's like, "No, I want to get into comedy. I want to get into reality show competitions." And they told me to get into stand-up comedy. But I was just, floored by how humble he was. A girl just started doing the open mic, and she's a very well-known TV presenter. And has many followers and stuff like that, and now she wants to get into stand-up and she's paying her dues.
Now I know
she ran the light the other day and she was so apologetic that I was like, okay, relax, girl.
All right. you're triggering me at this point, because like anybody who's done comedy in LA or any major market like that, for instance, they know, they've gone to those shows and they've met people that says just what you said just now a million times, like, oh, you want to be an actress, you're trying to be a model, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, go and do some comedy, that way we can put it on your CV that you're a comedian and you've done some sets and this and that. It's such a disrespectful thing to the art form that I assume we all love. To me, to where it's just like we're just an add-on thought, where like it's so easy, just go and do this, get some jokes off the internet, and
I guess it's those things that seems easy, but the minute you get on that stage and you get your first reaction, even if it's not bad.
I don't disagree with that, but it's the assumption that, oh yeah, I'll just go and do a couple of sets.
That's why I said
and then I can be a comedian.
That's why I said it will humble you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's being humbled right now. He got booed at a big venue at a show I think he put on. So
comedy finds out. It always finds out.
You know who I'm booing this week, y'all?
How does it happen?
I am booing Tennessee, because in an effort to make marriage, like undo marriage equality, Tennessee legislators, they proposed a bill that would have legalized child marriage. Y'all, why are they so crazy? Who's to blame? Terry, go ahead. This is your state.
That's right. It's my home state.
Oh, yeah?
I can tell you right now, Tennessee's got a lot of problems. First of all, it's not marriage equality. What they're doing is they're saying, basically, they're trying to change the law that would undo common law marriages for same-sex couples. By changing the age of which consent to be married is given, they're saying, but they also included in there that marriage is defined as a man and a woman. Now,
It's an attack on marriage equality.
It
Still,
is.
it's like making
But-
common law unequal, but go ahead.
Right. It's making common law unequal. But here's the thing. I don't think common law should be a law to start with
Well,
between anybody.
Well, then get rid of it for everybody. I
If
don't care
you-
what you think, but who's to blame here? Why would they?
Yeah.
Why are they so fucking pressed?
Jesus. I blame Jesus.
What do you think, Tarek?
I'm telling you.
I
I
blame
blame
Jesus.
No,
Look,
because
I
all-
come from Guatemala. You know, my dad's Arab, my mom's Italian.
Mhm.
I'm used to seeing through the show that politics books on. And like the Republican Party has clinged to sexual and gender identification matters just because it's a way to distract their base so they don't pay attention to the fact that they're not doing absolutely anything for them. You know what I mean? And the Democrats don't do much either.
I'm like, they all focus on the identity politics.
But you know, the identity politics, every time they come up with some stupid bill, I'm like, you know how many other things they could have been focusing on that's affecting Republican voters, the people who put you there, but they're not doing it, and that's for a reason because they don't want to.
Well, the Republican Party votes against their own interests. And
Yeah, and that's
their own interests. Why is this in your interest? Why the fuck is it in your interest
I
to
disagree.
outlaw common marriage for same-sex couples? Why the fuck is that in your
I
interest?
couldn't disagree with you guys more because here's
Because
the
you're
thing.
from Tennessee.
No,
Look,
I'm not.
you're a
actually.
white man from Tennessee.
No, I don't. I'm not. Look, I'm not saying this law is a good idea. What I'm saying is you say that they're doing this to placate their base, but they're not, because their base, even if you poll Republicans only, 70% plus still believe that marriage equality should be between any two rational, reasonable minded adults. That's what they think. And I can tell you this just from personal experience and given the subject matter. Do you know
then why does this
Hank,
work for them?
But that, yeah.
It works.
are you
Listen,
done? Because I was
no,
going
I'm
to
not
make
done because we need to stay on
it
this
doesn't
point.
work.
It does work.
It doesn't.
They elect these people because
It does work.
No,
Look
they
at
don't.
They
Florida.
run on these issues.
They don't. They
Look
don't.
at Florida. They passed
No,
that
they
don't
run
say
on these
gay
issues.
bill. You know, Florida passed that don't say gay bill.
Right.
And this is such a fucking gay state. You know what I mean?
Right,
You know what he
exactly.
Like
did?
at the same
He did
time,
it.
you
He
know,
wants to run for president.
No, they're misguided.
I think
in-
it's, I agree
trying
with
to go
you.
backwards. Trying to go backwards on gay rights is a fool's errand, and it's going to end up biting them in the ass, because that's not why people vote for him. People vote for him. Republicans vote for Republicans not because they like Republicans, not because Republicans do good for them. They vote for Republicans because they hate Democrats.
Yeah.
The difference, but no, listen, the difference between this is Democrats say, if you want my vote, you have to come to my house and plant me a garden. Do something nice for me, do something good for me, and I'll vote for you. Republicans vote for, hey, if you want my vote, destroy that garden. You know what I mean? It's really just about attacking the enemy. That's all it is. If you can own the libs, whatever it is, they'll vote for it. But they don't really care. Most Republicans that I know have gay people in their family, and they would hate for their rights to be taken away. And they're not pushing for this anymore.
This is just mean girl bullshit.
It really is. Republicans vote
Yeah, I don't feel the
based
majority
on
of
abortion and taxes.
no, even if they don't agree with gay marriage or whatever, I don't think that they want in the logical state of mind think that this was worth spending money on. You know what I
Nope.
mean?
It wasn't.
Politically speaking, you know.
It's a
So
fool's errand. The don't say gay bill was a fool's errand that was sparked on by what do they call it? Oh God. It's driving me crazy. Never mind. I'm done.
I mean, just to bring up don't say gay, I mean it passed. It passed and
You signed it.
Yeah. The other thing they were talking about getting out of schools, the one that's very popular right
race
now.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
critical race theory. Thank you.
racial
CRT.
theory, yeah.
Oh, CRT. They were never teaching that in schools.
They're getting rid
It's
of
so
something that was
stupid.
never there.
Yeah, I will
No,
solve a
CRT
problem
is
that
not
doesn't
this
exist.
huge agenda at all. It's just it's a historical topic, a way of teaching. It doesn't have this huge agenda at all. It's just really
Like-
trying to bring more truth into how we educate our children. But they made it seem like it was. And if you ask the majority of people who say they're against it, you ask them why and where and exactly what part of critical theory, they don't even know what it is.
No,
yeah, they don't know what it is, and they don't know that it's only taught at universities.
Right.
Speaking of universities, guys,
Oh, we're gonna transition already.
you not ready?
I'm not ready.
Okay,
No.
what else do you want to say about your home state
About Republicans.
homophobia?
Look, hey, look. I was a Republican for 10 years, right? I was a registered Republican. I voted for Bush twice. It's fine. I can deal with it. Listen, that's fine. I voted for Bush twice. I ended up regretting it. Then I voted for John McCain, which I still would have voted for John McCain. Maybe not over Obama,
Wow.
considering how good of a job he
You
did.
voted for John McCain
I
over
did.
Obama?
Wow.
Well, listen, here was my thought process on that. The man's an American
He's
hero.
black.
No, it doesn't matter. No, John McCain
It's a
is
very
an
fast
American hero.
process.
John McCain is an American hero. Not only that, he was very rational. He was very
I
reasonable.
like John McCain.
He switched between Democrats and Republicans twice. He's very rational. He believes in what he believes in. I just think the guy's a good dude. That's it.
No,
at
he's
the
a good
time.
dude.
But-
He's like a moderate
but
Democrat.
As soon as Obama got elected, and then the birther movement started, that's when I left the Republican Party. I could smell that crazy coming, and I knew it was
The
only
birther
going to get
movement
worse.
kind of started during the campaign.
Yes, it did.
But-
You're absolutely right. But when it really got ramped up with show me your long form birth certificate and all this bullshit, I was like, I can smell this crazy coming. So I got the fuck
So,
out of Dodge
but-
while getting was good.
Okay, but this doesn't answer the who's to blame question, to be honest. Like with regards to Tennessee trying this bullshit, why are they doing it? What's the point?
Because
If you say like the Republicans
Okay.
they don't agree with that,
Mhm.
but they keep electing these people in, it's just the politics.
Because dumb white trash exists. That's
But
why.
why are they doing
No,
it in
no.
the first place?
No, no,
what's
listen.
the
You know
point?
what?
Let me explain that statement before I get canceled.
What's the reward?
I'm saying that dumb white trash exists, and somehow the RNC has figured out a way to tap into that. Here are people that make anywhere between $35,000 and $60,000 a year. They live in substandard housing. That, you know, their big Friday night is going down to the Walmart parking lot. Like I know these people. I grew up with these people. These
Damn.
people are in my family. Like I know these people, but somehow they have found out that if they can get this culture war going, and then they can pit one against the other, all they have to do is say a bunch of keywords, a bunch of key phrases, and a bunch of buzzwords, and they'll get their approval. That's it. It's just
That's
because they're dumb.
And you know, it's a tale as old as time, because here we're doing it with because we're a diverse nation. The the poor masses are diverse. They're white, they're black, they're Latino, they're Asian, they're immigrant, they're whatever. So that's the way they're getting the poor people to keep fighting with each other, so that the rich can do whatever they want.
Yep.
The
You know?
identity
Because
politics.
100%.
it's poor white people who really elected Trump
Yeah, it's
and
funny that you
really
say
made
that.
him win and pushed him through, and it's them who defended the most.
Yeah.
But
And
let
it's
me
funny,
put-
it's funny that he says that, because the thing is about it, Trump is not on your side. The RNC is never on your side. They don't give a fuck
No,
about
they're-
you. They don't give a fuck about the culture war. They don't care what bathroom somebody goes into. All they think constantly is who's got my money, who can give me money, and who can secure my money.
It's a marketing.
That's all
ploy.
it is.
It's a marketing
it.
play. It's a product
all
that
it
they're
is.
selling, and we know that.
It's a
but-
pyramid scheme for money. That's what it is.
But
Yeah.
I can't believe that they just keep harping on all this old shit,
Mm.
like undoing all this progress. And I was gonna say that when it comes to identity politics, I'm a black woman, so I'm not one that's gonna be like, oh, we shouldn't talk about or discuss identity politics. Fucking course we should, but yeah, they manipulate identity politics to pit us against each other, and then the end result is like us hating each other. They're like, Black Lives Matter. What about white lives? Okay, stop.
Do you know why they do it? Because of this conversation. because now we have to have this conversation. If I make if I propose a bill that starts this conversation nationally, now all of a sudden I've got attention on me. I've got all this free broadcasting time, which guess what? That's just free advertising for me. That's how Trump got elected. They gave all of his speeches in full on CNN, for God's sakes. They gave him billions of dollars worth of free advertisement. And it's the same thing they're doing now. They have figured out if they can just hit a trigger button that will trigger liberals, then they will react. And then that will turn Republicans to just go, oh, obviously liberals are wrong. And then they support something they don't actually fucking believe in.
All right. I love that we're talking about this longer, but I can't let you control the time because we're on time with Tarek. And so we need to move on to the next topic.
Okay.
So in the next topic, I'm wondering, so this Yale employee embezzled a bunch of money. She stole $40 million from Yale. And she was living lavishly. She had all these cars, nice home, all this stuff, living like her kid's gonna go to Yale, right? Who do y'all think she voted for? I'm wondering. Okay, but who's to blame? Why was she able to steal $40 million from the school, guys? 40 million.
That was my first question.
George went to Yale.
Is
you know,
we don't realize the access, what kind of money these people have access to.
Yeah.
Or the kind of money that goes to these private schools. And I mean, I don't know. I think she took the opportunity.
Was she just being greedy, or was it like?
It's not just being greedy. She was lucky too, because she kind of got away with it for a while.
Yeah. She lived that lifestyle for a minute.
She lived that lifestyle. And you know what? Do you guys remember? I'm sure you've seen the Netflix series, the Anna Delvey story.
I haven't, but
I know what I'm talking about. Big German heiress. Even got some backers in New York to give her a $40 million loan almost, you know? Well, she faked her way through society, and then, you know, they did a Netflix series about her. But the one thing that a girl said to me, and this girl is white and rich, and she said to me, white supremacy and white privilege, because no one ever stopped to question her because she fit the physical appearance of someone who was rich from Germany and stuff. And I think it's the same thing with this woman, because I feel like if it was like a person of color or an immigrant from another, you know, from a country from the Southern Hemisphere, if she was Mexican, she would have never gotten away with this. No one would have taken her seriously.
They would have been onto her a lot sooner. Like, where's she getting money from?
Oh, yes. Do you think that this Yale lady would have gotten away with it? Asking your complete honest opinion, if she was Black and she had to fight very hard to get that job, probably. I don't know if this white girl had.
She wouldn't even risk it.
Yeah, I do.
She wouldn't even risk
I do think it, and I actually think it for the very same reason that I think it kind of comes back to what we were just talking about with Republicans. Con men. That's all they are. They're just con men.
So you think she's a con man?
I don't know. I was going to explain it before you. Okay. Con men, that's it. They're just smarter than their mark. That's all it is. If you can be smarter than your mark, it really doesn't matter. You said, oh, if she was Mexican, she wouldn't have gotten away with it. Who's to say? Why? What if she said she was, you know, El Chapo's niece or whatever, and worked her way in like that? For a smart person, all you need is a cracked door. That's it. And then you can figure out a way to make it
but
work.
I think that also these con people realize that.
Yeah.
So if you're on a Delvey or someone, you use your whiteness to your advantage.
Their cracked door is their whiteness.
Their cracked door is cracked because they're white. And I tell you because
okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me confused. I'm not saying
You're apologizing.
I'm not saying that being white isn't better. It's clearly better. I get it. All right. I'm just saying for a smart person.
No one said it was better. We just said there's more
I'm saying it's clearly
there's
fucking
more
better.
cracked doors.
Okay.
There's more cracked doors.
You sound like a white.
And look, coming from real estate and finance, you walk into any bank today, and what's true still, or any real estate office, most of the people in there are white, straight men still, you know, and money's about trust. There's also a racial and classist component that comes to that trust. I've witnessed it and experienced it in my own life. And
you can't say that.
And white people get on the regular more amounts of money trusted with less collateral and things. It's It happens all the time. I worked at restaurants. I'm Arab Latino, right? And I'm a fair Arab. I'm a white Arab, right? They would make me in this Lebanese restaurant deal with all the white people. And because I spoke like a white person, they would hide the Muslim, the darker ones, and bring out me. Oh, he's a Christian, whiter Arab who speaks like an American. Let's use him. That's our crack door, is this white Arab, which is a bridge between, a darker Arab and what white people can handle. Yeah. So, right. I mean, from my experience, I see a lot of that in this fraud thing, So same with the Tinder the Tinder swindler or whatever. He was a cute white guy from Israel. Everyone thinks, he's cute. He's Israeli people are good finance people. It wouldn't have been the same way or as simple for a black person from Africa or a Latino guy from Peru or whatever. To have done that to European women, to have done that to white women, because he attacked rich Scandinavian women. He had to be white himself. If he would have called from Nigeria or from Mexico, you know what I mean? The only reason they trusted him is because he was from white.
It's your proximity to whiteness.
You just change your story. Yes. Can a white girl from Germany pretend to be a German heiress better than a Mexican girl from Mexico City? Absolutely. But look at it in the converse side. On the reverse side, can a white German girl pretend to be like a Mexican heiress as well as a Mexican? No, of course not.
Yeah, because Mexicans are white as well. Because white supremacy exists in Mexico. So if you're a white person, listen to me. I'm going to tell you something that's very true. Listen, coming from a Palestinian Guatemalan, a white person can say they are from anywhere in the world. Okay? And you cannot question it. A white person tells you they're from Africa, you assume they're a white African, a descendant of the migrants. You don't even question it, right? Because they've colonized and conquered all the world, and you don't have a right to question them. But what's the first thing a white person asks you? Where are you from? How did you get here? You know what I mean? And they have to question if I'm Latino. They have to question if I'm Palestinian. They even question if we exist. Yeah. But does anyone question a white Israeli? Does anyone question an American and what they did to all the natives here in Florida to make it so sunny and nice? You know what I mean?
No.
Where are you from, white person? Where are you from?
Israeli
got me going.
I'm just saying, Israeli, first of all.
I'm just saying that a woman could fake she was a Mexican heiress, and if she was a white one, she would gotten away with it. With a German bag, the most rich family in Guatemala is a German family. Their name is Berger. And they look whiter than you, Terry, and they would do the same thing, but it would because they were white.
Well,
if a girl called
Israelis Israelis really don't like being called white.
Yeah, but it's still
they are, and they even discriminate within each other.
I understand. I'm just saying Israelis really don't like being called white.
Well, most white people don't like being called white
because they are Middle Eastern.
All right, guys, enough about white people, because in Palm Beach County, white people are still falling victim to homelessness, guys. Our kids here in Palm Beach County, they're becoming homeless at an alarming rate, like 50 a week. Who's to blame?
You want to take this?
Do you want my real estate perspective?
Please.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, who's to blame is all the white people. No, I'm kidding. It's not all the white people. It's all the
only white person in this room. So.
Look, it's all the rich people that come from. Look, Florida is a tax haven within the United States, and it's an investment haven for the world. So South Florida really was built on catering to all the rich investors. That's who I cater to, and that's why and that's what I see creates homelessness in my own neighborhood. And in the neighborhoods I deal with and everything. It's, rich people come, buy up what they can. They don't care what it is because they're investors. They don't even look at it.
Is there an increase in demand right now?
No, there's no volume on the market right now because it's all been sold to investors from outside the country.
And they have the capital to keep it in their pocket for a long time, put money into it.
Well, it was the pandemic that did it because they took all their money out of the market and they stuffed it into real estate.
Which the state was founded.
Yeah,
the state of Florida was founded on the formula of getting people to invest here.
But
the pandemic, you're right. And now the pandemic took it to the next level because no one else could buy, especially during COVID. Who's the people buying?
I don't think they saw the ramifications of doing that ad mass, because now the rent ceiling is so high. It's like you got to pay $1,600 even in a remote area to get a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's just putting the squeeze. It's like, and if you want to notice something over all these topics we've talked about, we've tried to make it about race as much as we can, but the overarching theme is money. Okay, you can't say that it's all about race when Osama bin Laden's nephew has a penthouse on Park Avenue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can.
No,
it's not the.
It's
majority.
about
It
money.
is about
trumps
money.
Everything.
It is about money, but
trumps
how is money
everything.
distributed? But the thing is, it is about money, and the world is mostly classist, but racism is a way to divide that class.
It's a way to divide.
And let's talk
people
about
who
how
don't
the
have
money-
Here. Let me get in
But the
here.
thing
It's a way
is,
to
it
divide
is
people
about
who don't
race
have money.
because wealth was made here according to race.
Yes,
You know?
I agree.
If you were
It was
black,
made
you were
according-
an asset, and you weren't paid for your labor, and you were
Yes,
exploited.
I agree.
Who has
So
the most
it's only whomever would have been the slave and the other the master would have ended up being the rich and the poor. And unfortunately, a lot of black people live in extreme poverty more than the percentage of white people do. So we do have to address why that is, and that is.
If you want to look up the 10, if you want to look up the top 20 richest people in the world, the majority of them don't look like me. A majority of them look like you.
Like I'm gonna do it top 10 richest people. Who are you
Do
talking
it.
to?
Go ahead.
Bezos,
Find how
Elon
many
Musk.
seats you
I
can.
hope
They all
he
look
wrong.
like you,
Yeah.
bro.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk,
Yeah,
white.
you're
Jeff
right, you're
Bezos,
right.
white.
Elon Musk.
Bernard Arnault, white. Bill Gates, white. Warren Buffett, white. Larry Page, white. Larry Ellison, Berger, Brin, white.
Keep going.
The 10 people are
Keep
white.
going.
Top 10
All
is
white.
already done.
I said top 20, but it's fine.
But already the top 10 are white, straight
See, I'm
men.
glad you looked it up while we were on there. Thank
It's
you.
I'm telling you, it's about money.
You can't
okay?
help but apologize. is
I'm
all
not.
it is. You're an apologist. You can't help it. And
I'm
I
not.
understand. I forgive you. You're a white man, so you're like, I don't
If
want us
I
to be
gave
that
you,
bad.
if I gave you $1 billion, no door would be closed to you. I don't care what color you are.
Yeah, but to get
Still,
$1
but I
billion
could still walk into the Louis Vuitton in
Look,
Paris and they'd be like following me.
This
though.
is my problem with
Like-
this. This is my problem.
it even happens to famous black people get followed. in
Oprah.
other-
It happened to Oprah.
It happened to Oprah, for God's sake.
I
you know, so-
understand. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. Okay. This is just my opinion, but I'm just saying that to me, it seems fairly obvious that the haves have figured out a way to pit the have-nots against each other, and race is the perfect excuse because there's a long history throughout the world that supports it. I'm just saying in the modern day, right now, money rules the world.
All right.
Cash rules everything around me forever.
Let me just hop in here and say this, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay,
That is very easy to say as a white man.
you're right.
I agree.
Just poor white trash from Tennessee.
I know, but still.
But just because you're poor doesn't mean that that's
It hasn't
how
been
most
better.
people
I
are.
acknowledge my white privilege,
Okay, good.
So,
All
but
right,
I believe in logic over anything else.
all right,
Yeah.
let's move on. All right, well,
And by the way, I didn't pick to be this, by the
No
way.
one-
I didn't pick.
No
to
one did,
fucking
and we're
do
not
this.
blaming you. We just need to all be aware.
Yeah,
Look,
but
I had
you
to
have
learn about my own
understand.
privilege within my own community. I'm a light-skinned Christian Arab.
you did acknowledge.
Living outside the Middle East, I am as privileged in my community as they come.
Right.
You know?
But in a room full of white people, they're like,
I'm not. I lose all that privilege is lost. You know, I'm
Yeah,
just
but-
another Arab.
Terry
know?
don't.
But when
Yeah.
any Tennessee Republican, this is my point. When any Tennessee Republican hears this shit, right? It's just like you say, they feel like attacked, and then they go through, wait a second, I was this, I was this, I was poor, I was growing up, I was this, and I still live in an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm 41 years old, and blah, 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 blah. And it just keeps going on. And then you just keep fighting each other, and you don't fight the real enemy.
and you
and
don't
that
fix
is
the
the
problem. I
haves.
do agree with
You
that.
need to fight the people with the power and the money, not each other. You gain nothing by doing this.
Look, this is the point. Like, the brown people aren't even fighting those people. They're fighting those people, and those people are distracting those people. So it's not.
Yeah.
Don't blame us for bringing attention.
I'm blaming you
Don't
for
blame
falling
us.
for their tricks.
I'm not. Don't blame us for bringing attention to all these issues that we've been experiencing all these fucking centuries. Okay, move on.
You can't even use a
Welcome,
coaster.
Tarek. He is a host and producer of Tonight with Tarek at Villain Theater and a familiar face. He just headlined there this weekend. Welcome to the Blamegirl podcast. I'm sorry.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
I knew this was going to be good. That's why I wanted to get you on so bad.
Yeah. So we want to talk about you as a comedian. How long have you been doing comedy?
I've been performing in a comedic manner since I was a kid. I was a child. I did a lot of acting in Guatemala and in Jordan in the Middle East. I was on television,
Wow.
theater, all that. But then when I graduated college, I moved to the United States. When I graduated high school.
How many years has it been?
Stand up is what we're talking
Of performing almost my whole life. Of stand up, it's been 5.
Okay.
I stopped for a while, and stand up was kind of like the way that I decided to come back and perform. Yeah. But I always wanted really to be a stand up comedian. You know, when I would watch like Margaret Cho or George Carlin, those are like my, you know, I liked very political people. I knew that that's essentially what I wanted to do the most, more than ever, like make a movie or be in a play. I liked being a comedian.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then, you know, I started 5 years ago. I wasn't good at all at the beginning, mostly because the scene was very young. Also because, you know, being weird and queer and ethnic in Miami is not very easy. There's not a lot of people that can, you know, give you advice or nurture you. So it wasn't until I joined the Villain Theater and did like all their improv and stand-up classes and became a company member that I really found a community that would help me grow.
I think that's important. Is finding.
Yeah. And for queers and, you know, women of color and all kinds of people, Villain has been that place, you know, here in South Florida.
Definitely.
For the queers, it's like where you have to go to take a comedy course now, because you know, you'll get a lot of, there's a more diverse bunch basically, so you're getting the feedback you need to grow. But
let me ask you something. How do you need to get off at 7:50 or?
Yeah, like 7:55.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna fire some questions off.
Yes, do it.
Your portion real quick, and we'll have to have you back on because this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry it was so rushed. It was a lot of fun.
No,
complaining.
It wasn't rushed.
I like it.
It was just we were engaged in the blame.
Yeah, it is. The time flew by.
Some people we have on here and they find this argumentative. I find this to be a great conversation. That's what I find. I find you learn a lot more from these conversations than you do from political.
It's good dialogue, and I think once Tarek got, because at first you seemed a little bashful, but then you got into it and you were like, boom, boom, boom.
I have the way of bringing that out in people.
Don't you? Okay. So
I wonder what it is.
Like, let me tell this white man.
Because I don't give it.
Like, wait a minute.
Everything you guys are saying, to me, I'm a science guy. I'm a logic guy. We're all just bags of meat and muscle and chemicals. I don't give a shit.
Let me interview our guest. We know what you think.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, what is your favorite venue to perform at? And you can't say, we're gonna go with Villain Theater for you or the Improv.
I love a Villain is my favorite place to perform.
You can't say
no.
Villain.
He can say
Villain. Or Villain or the Improv. Yeah, let's leave Villain and the Improv out because they're great places.
No, Improv's not allowed. That's too easy.
Yeah.
That's too easy.
That's what I said.
Although I'm not crazy about performing at the Improv too many of the times. I love it and I welcome any booking there, but you know, like I said, I'm not your regular comic. I'm not too palpable for people here. I'm not the mainstream. So I
will allow Villain.
Yeah, Villains.
So we'll allow Villain. But you know, I'll just shout out another venue I like was the Tipsy Flamingo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That was fun. That was actually not fun. Not horrible.
No love for Taurus.
Sorry?
No love for Taurus at all.
Who's Taurus?
Taurus.
Taurus.
Oh, Taurus. No, I hate Taurus. I did horrible there.
Really?
You would love it there, Wayne. No, I was not good at Taurus. It's not my scene. That is not my scene at all. That is not my scene at all.
I really wanted to go up there.
I've been going there for like 7 years. Like I
couldn't get up because I came too late, or so I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was, but I'm up here in Palm anyway. Not about me. So what?
It's probably because you were black.
What has been your proudest moment?
My proudest moment. Maybe when I started seeing how I was affecting people with my comedy. I talk a lot about being gay and Palestinian, and that's not common, especially in the Arab
That is
community.
a no, right?
Yeah, so I would do shows like we do this festival that's coming up actually in Villain called No Fear We're Queer. It's our queer pride comedy fest that we do for Pride Month. And I remember we did that last year and the year before, and all these queers, like Asian queers and Arab queers and Black queers just came up with me and they're like, oh my God, your stories just resonate so much with me. Because it's not just about being queer, but it's also about being, a minority or from a weird place in the world or a misunderstood place. So I think that's what I thought was my proudest moment, seeing younger queer comedians come up.
And I just want to say congratulations to the entire gay community for taking queer back, because that used to be like I remember being in school and getting called queer all the time.
Well, there's a huge debate on it. It is a British. There's a huge debate on it. It is the British word. It's what they call, colonizer vocabulary.
Sure.
It's what they would call all the non-straights.
Yeah.
So the queers took it back in the day. They said, "Oh yes, I'm a queer,"
Yeah.
So now we really use it to refer to the entire community.
I think it's
instead of constantly saying LGBTQ.
I'm sorry, I gotta keep moving.
All right.
Sorry, keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
I just thought that was incredible. I was like a paradigm shift.
Yeah, the gays do that all the time. Like,
what has been your biggest challenge doing comedy?
Trying to stay true to my voice in South Florida while also getting booked, because we're like a commercial hub for comedy in the sense that because we're a tourism hub and stuff, a lot of the comedy we do is for entertainment, so sometimes content suffers because of that. And you hear brilliant comedians doing, basic dick jokes and stuff just to get bar people to laugh.
Yeah.
I don't.
You know what I mean? So my challenge has been trying to be still good and have quality and talk about things like Palestine or gay rights and all the shit that's going on with that while still entertaining a bar crowd. Not that I've accomplished it, but
I don't necessarily agree with what you said about the scene down here, because I go to places like LA and New York and they all tell me the same thing. They're like, oh, it's a different atmosphere here. It's very progressive. And I'm just like, I'm fine. I'm very progressive myself. And they're like, oh, you got to watch it. They told me that in LA. They're like, oh, you got to watch what you say. So I said, okay, I'm going to do every offensive joke that I have in a row and see what happens. And it fucking killed, because funny wins at the end of the day. We can all write our blogs and we can all try to be as woke as we can. But at the end of the day, funny is funny.
All right.
Yeah. And it's not just being woke. It's not really about being woke. It's about talking things that matter to you and that are more interesting than just bar conversation while still getting booked here,
Yeah.
Well, you can say something poignant and make it funny.
Yeah, that's been my challenge.
You can.
How do I make my comedy like
something poignant and be funny? You
exactly.
You really can.
I guess it's every comedian's challenge.
But it takes work. It takes work to do it.
And in South Florida, it takes much more work. Because the feedback we get from the crowds is really, New Yorkers tell me this all the time, and I've heard it from London comics too. They say we can write a joke on Monday and have it worked by Saturday. Because I can go to 2 open mics and all these gigs throughout the week. And people are going to give you a genuine reaction to your comedy and even give you notes and stuff, whatever, when you want them.
You can do that here.
But here, even when they give you a note, it's not what you want. You don't want that note from that person.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, it just takes years to grow out your jokes here because people are not really paying attention most of the time, I have to say.
Especially in those bar crowds. All right.
Which is most of our crowds. Anyway.
Fuck those bar crowds.
Fuck those.
Who are you outside of comedy, Tarek?
What?
Who are you outside of comedy? Like, where are you from? What's your day job?
I'm one of those 3 culture kids. I was born and raised in Guatemala, Palestinian father, Italian mother, gay. So I'm one of those weird, queer, international people, but I'm a realtor. I'm in the real estate industry. What?
I said the fights in your house must have been like bananas.
Oh my God.
I've known plenty of them. Yeah, like they're very passionate on both sides.
That's why I'm trying to, actually one thing that my uncles and my dad would always tell me is, you're going to notice in life that white people can say they're from anywhere in the world, okay? And you'll have to shut up your mouth and accept it. You can't ask them why and how they're from there. But they'll question your birthplace if they have to. But you cannot question anything. So, and I remember that resonated for me. And for a long time, I didn't understand it. And then, you know, I started understanding it because people kept asking me, where am I from and how do I get here and how weird, you know? I had to tell them, for people to be okay with me just being in the room, I had to explain my entire family story, you know?
Yeah, they're like, do you
But
have
a white person never has to do that.
No, they want to know if you got your
I've
papers.
seen you multiple times. I've never asked any of those.
Okay.
Well, you're different. That's not, you know, I just.
Yeah, because I'm fucking crazy. I don't think like anybody. But go
Tarek,
ahead.
do you have anything you want to promote?
Yeah, my bi-monthly show, my talk show Tonight with Tarek, which I would love to have you guys on sometime. It's
Sure.
a mix of stand-up and improv and like sketches, film sketches. It's great, and like games. And we have that every other Saturday at Villain. It's amazing, and it's a great way to see some of your favorite comedians doing different things.
By the way, I headlined earlier this year at Villain. I love that place. I highly recommend it to anybody performing or just as an audience member.
Yeah.
It's a great venue. It's real chill vibe. I loved it. I did what, 45 minutes and fucking loved every second of it.
Yeah, it's great. It's the alternative place here in Miami, you know?
You had to pull me
And
off.
it's the place where you want to go try content and people buy tickets to see comedy.
I've always loved
they
Villain.
do pay attention, you know.
Do you have any any social media you want to put out there before?
Yeah, just my Instagram is my main page, at Tarek Turjuman. And yeah, then from there you can check out all my other stuff. But that's where I post mostly, and that's where you can see all the events that I have coming up. Also, this
great to argue with. Go follow him.
Yeah, don't argue with me. You'll lose. Yeah. Well, this weekend I'm opening for Francisco Ramos, the Venezuelan comedian. He was on Gentefied and some other Netflix shows and HBO.
Is that at Villain?
And that's at Villain. So, you know.
All right. Guys, check him out at Tarek Turjuman on Instagram and see where he's going to be at. Of course, Villain this week and Saturday. And
Friday and Saturday and
headlining Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
No, featuring for Francisco Ramos.
Yeah.
The next Saturday, April 19th, we have a big Tonight with Tarek with Jay Moreno, Amanda, what's her name? A bunch of Miami comedians that I love.
Awesome. All right.
Well, I hate that you can't stay for the Words for White People because I'm calling an audible. I had one, but now I'm calling it, and you directly inspired it. So I hate that you can't stay, but I hope you watch it back later.
I hope I watch it. I do have to go.
Okay.
You don't care about words.
I get it.
It's his words for white people, though, not for anybody else.
That's right. It's just for the honkies. It's only for the crackers.
He's talking,
so they can learn something.
Talking shit to the white people.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you guys for having me.
We'll see you soon.
It was a great time. I'd love to have you back.
Definitely.
Bye, guys. Take care.
All right. See you later. The floor is yours, sir.
The floor is mine. Okay. So anybody who watches this show with any kind of regularity knows how I am. So I'm just going to explain it to you real quick. We are going to talk about existentialism. And I feel like this is a words for all people, not just the honkies this week. Existentialism, it's basically just accepting the fact that you're finite. You have a start point and an end point. And because of the way that I believe about certain things, scientifically or just about life in general, I mean, the idea is that we can't just say that one belief is right and the other isn't. And growing up a pastor's son, I got exposed to this a lot. So the one thing we can lean on is that right now we're just bags of meat and chemicals. That's it. And that's the one thing we can't prove, the one thing we can rely on. So all these minor discrepancies, all these things we argue about, all these things we fight about, everything that tears us apart as a society, as a species, as a human race, all these things that tear us apart really mean nothing. Because let me tell you something, when you're laying there and you're facing the end and you're taking your last few breaths and you're living your last few moments, you're not going to think about the people you hate. You're not going to think about the people you think you're better than. You're not going to think about the people you're worse than. You're just going to hope you were a good person while you had the opportunity. So try to keep that in mind when all these fears, when all these arguments, when everything surrounds you as it does us all. At the end of the day, all that's really going to matter is when you look back on your life and your final moments, what did you do? Were you kind? Were you harsh? Did you open doors for people or did you close them in front of them? So we can have these discussions all we want to, but as soon as the anger comes up, as soon as the hate comes up, and that goes for anybody, by the way. You know, I understand that there's a lot of hate for people that look like me, and there's a good 1,000 reasons for it. But just try to remember, you're just a bag of meat and chemicals looking at another bag of meat and chemicals. And at the end of the day, we're all going to hope we made right choices. And I try to make right choices in my life, and I hope you do too. Gio.
All right. How's that for some words with white people? All right, guys. Terry, do you have anything coming up?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it yet, but May 15th, both of us will be at the Bergeron Rodeo. Oh, the rodeo. We'll be doing a show for Sita, who's obviously a good friend of the show, good friend of ours. A clean set, which has me nervous to the point of diarrhea.
Don't get us kid. Don't get us.
I'm not. I swear to, I've been working on some stuff just specifically for that, which actually, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but my uncle was a kind of famous rodeo cowboy. He was the Coca-Cola cowboy back in the 80s. He rode bulls and broncs and whatnot. So I think I'm going to talk about that and how big of a dumb decision that is for anybody to ride a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I can do that without cursing. But it's a family-friendly event.
And we got like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, 15 minutes. So you can bring the kids. You can bring the kids out to that show and not have to worry about us dropping any F-bombs or talking about anything crazy. I will be telling all the kids that Santa isn't real because there's nothing blue about that.
Do not do that.
I didn't even curse when I told them Santa wasn't real.
I'm an awful person. All right, guys, that's it. We're done. I'm hungry. Thank you for tuning in, and until next week.